What's up, everyone here? Thanks for coming back. This is part 2 of our ongoing series on Warzone audio. So the first part of the first video in the series was basically kind of an overview of what is wrong with the audio right now. And then we're going to talk about how we can fix the audio on console and how to bring it, bring the useful and important aspects of the audio in Warzone to the forefront and lowering the volume on a lot of the noise that just makes the game difficult to play. So just to rehash, there are two kind of components going on here. One is the audio is supposed to be in a surround mix, right? And it gets compressed into a left channel, right channel scenario. And so the problem with that is that it muddles the sound. It puts a lot of noises that shouldn't be together into the same place in your ear. And that's why stuff seems louder than it should be. In a lot of scenarios. And it also impacts the directional audio that exists. So something that people don't realize is just how intentional the developers were about having things like footsteps be directional and exist in like a 3D space for the express purpose of people that use spatial audio to be able to accurately track where footsteps are, like where somebody is by their footsteps. So I'm going to run a clip from a game dev in the launch period of Warzone. In the launch period of Modern Warfare 2, prior to Warzone 2.0, and talking about the footstep engine. Like this is literally how they designed the game. Like this aspect of it is supposed to be a critical function of us playing the game.
Looking to evolve. We have a brand new occlusion engine, a brand new reverb engine.
Where are the controls?
We also have improved 3D directionality, which is really helpful if you're trying to, hunt people by footsteps and get the surprise on them as they come around a corner. Modern Warfare 2, to put it simple.
So there you have it from the devs themselves. Footstep audio is a critical part in our ability to play the game. It's baked in, it has its own engine to create directional footsteps, and we are supposed to be able to hear it, okay? And so on that, depending on your setup, you can hear the footsteps moving around, and you can kind of tell where they are in space. So the problem is when you have this game on console, that audio, it's all garbled together, right? It's not as finely tuned as it is in the demo they created for us. So I'm going to play a bit showcasing two clips. One is what happens when you have just raw Xbox audio. And then another clip showcasing what it sounds like when you run that audio through an EQ. Now, this second clip was captured on PC, but it was just running it through an EQ. There's no other features turned on. And it is a very comparable EQ to what I'm going to show you on Xbox, although I have the Xbox one that I will show you tuned a little bit more, and we'll talk about that in detail in a minute. But take a listen to the audio in this in these two clips and listen for the footsteps. All right, I want you to understand that the footsteps and their usefulness as directional aids are part of the game. And I think people don't realize that it exists on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. It's not just a PC thing. Sit down, bitch.
See here.
Okay. With those two clips, the first one is loud and noisy, which is that's how the audio sounds. It's just raw. That's raw audio. But you can still clearly hear the footsteps, and I can tell exactly where they are. I can tell that they're moving away from me to my left, and I can hear some other noises as the character interacts with the environment. The second clip, I've brought down the noise table across the board, with the exception of the part of the audio where the footsteps are. That I've left alone and actually emphasized a little bit. What that does is it basically gives me it lowers the level of noise going on in the game, right? But it also lets, it isolates those footsteps so that I can track, I know where this guy is. And if you listen to it again, if you need to rewind it and hear it again, in that clip, before I drop down the thermostat, I can hear him clearly running around below me. I know he's there, okay? And so what I do is I drop down, and I can hear him coming, so that's why I'm turned and I'm ready for that fight. I don't win the fight, but I'm ready for it because I know he's there. I know he's coming, and I know he's going to make a move on me. So that, I think, is one of the biggest benefits that you can get on console. Now, I have done the tunes on console where the noise is brought down even lower, all right, and footsteps are much more obvious, and it works really well, but I don't think a lot of people like it because it doesn't have the ambiance that we like in Call of Duty, right? So I'm trying to strike a balance between the two and how I want to hear the game. And especially if I'm streaming and I want, creating clips, I want other people to experience the game the way it was intended, right? So there's a balance here, and we'll talk next video about how you can push that balance, to the extreme end of the balance to get, to kind of the audio cheese that we talk about. But the reality is the cheesy part is part of the game. Okay. So now let's look at what's going on with consoles. So this is on Xbox. Now on PlayStation, this exists too, but I believe it's locked to hardware that you have to buy from Sony. I don't own a PlayStation, so someone's going to have to, to fact check that for me. But my understanding is you have to buy their headphones, or you have to buy a Mixamp Pro from Astro or somebody else that has these features in order for you to get the audio going, which is not a huge problem necessarily if you're buying a new headset, but it's a little bit more for the right equipment. But it is kind of a drag that it's not quite as simple on Xbox as it is on Xbox, but we're going to look at it from the Xbox point of view because the functionality of these two options is basically the same. So this is the Dolby app on Xbox, okay, Dolby Atmos. You can download it for free, and then if you want to use it, you can either acquire a license or you can get you can buy the license for yourself. And so I own a Mixamp Pro, which provides the license, so I don't need to purchase it again, but I wanted to show that to you. So on this one, you can see different settings. We want Dolby Atmos for headphones. That's how we're going to hear it best. And what this is going to do is do two things and solve the two problems that our audio has. One, it's going to create a simulated surround sound in your earphones, and it doesn't matter if you're on, the cheap Turtle Bays or you're on, a Steel Series or, whatever, or even a high-end audiophile set of headphones. It'll create that virtual soundstage on the Xbox to deliver an emulation of the surround. Now, you can buy headphones that will emulate the straight 7.1 surround, which is exactly what you can get on PC. So the ability to have Dolby surround on your headphones is on console. Same as PC, same as the devs intend when they create the audio. So that's all fine and good, but how do you get that, right? So that's where equalization comes in. So we are basically looking at what's called an equalizer. So if you've never messed with this before, if you've seen it, or if you've seen them on, audio stuff, and you don't know what it is, very simple. Basically, each one of these bars is a certain register of sound, right? And so it starts at the very low on the left side, and then it goes to the high end, right? So the hertz there, the Hz, is a measure of where that of what band of audio you're working with. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to quiet down the extraneous noises and quiet down the stuff that's too loud because of our equipment, and raise up the areas that the parts that have the important sounds that we need. So as you can see, we've raised up about 125 hertz, which is roughly where footsteps live, and we've depressed the really low end. And the reason we've done that is that's where all the reverb and the explosions and the jets, and that's all the noise they create. That's where that lives. We don't want to blow our eardrums out. And that's one of the downsides of modern headphones is that they all love to bass boost. They love to give you extra bass, which is great when you're listening to hip hop, not so great when you're playing Warzone. Okay? And so all we're doing is we're trying to balance the audio to fit our needs in our own pieces of equipment. And every piece of equipment, every headphone that you use is going to be different. So this is actually the mix from my A40s. And how when I play on the A40s, this is how I listen to it. I have a different mix for the Steel series. I have a different mix when I was on the Razors, and so it all really depends on your headphones and your specific equipment setup, which is one of those points that people bring up of like, well, how do I know? Like, this is a big conversation, and it's hard to It's hard to know. How do I put it? It's hard to know what to do, right? Because you start messing with stuff and it can sound awful and you can lose everything and have no idea what's going on. So there's a YouTuber out there. His name is He goes by Gadgetry Tech. He does audio reviews. He does a lot of audio EQing, and he uses a system called Squiglink, and I will have descriptions below. Basically what he's done is he's analyzed Warzone and he's identified where the important parts of the audio live in the spectrum of sound, and then kind of how much they need to be emphasized to hit that proper mix, to make it sound right. But the part that's exciting is that he then has analyzed, him and other people have analyzed all the headsets that you can get your hands on and what their responses are, right? What their response profiles are. And so this software, which is free, link down below, will tell you how to set your mix to fix the audio in your headphones so you can hear the footsteps. Here's how easy it is. So this is the app, or the website. It's a site. It's not even an app. You don't even download it. You just go to it. And what we've done is we selected Warzone, and there's a whole video on how to do this. He has it. It's 30 minutes. I'm not going to get into it. But we select Warzone. And then over here, we're going to select our Astro A40s. Okay. And what you can see here is this line, this dotted line, that is the proper mix for Warzone. That's the response that Warzone gives us. Like, this is what your output should look like in order to properly deliver the footsteps where you can hear them, keep the explosions from blowing your eardrums out, make sure that the air conditioners and the buzzing insects and the birds don't get in the way. All right, this is what it should look like according to him, and I think he's pretty spot on. And so we're going to hit A40s, and what it's going to do is it's going to tell us what the A40 response curve looks like. So my A40s, the way they process sound looks like this, and you can see it's high in the bass, right? Very, very large, gentle curve here, where we have all of this extraneous noise down here that shouldn't be there, being brought up and being forced onto us, and it's not highlighting the footsteps like it should. And then you get into the high end, and there's all kinds of stuff going on. All right. So the question that we have is so great. Now we have this. What do we do? They've made it so simple. You go over here to equalizer. I'm going to hit auto EQ. All this is going to do is it's going to balance the curve as close to the mix that we want as possible. And then it's going to give me a list of all the changes I need to make on my EQ on my Xbox. So I hit the button. It does its thing in the background. And then bam, look at this. That curve is pretty good. All right. It's not going to be perfect. Right. But it's pretty good. It's pretty much where we want. And so here's the changes that you make. Okay. You just go in, you go back to your mix, to your equalizer on your Xbox, and you just adjust the frequencies to match. This one, they're not perfect. There's different settings, and he has some different tools if you have the mix amp. But generally speaking, this will get you going, and then you can tune it to how you like. But this right here will give you audio that is so far ahead of everything you've got on just your raw Xbox and raw PlayStation sound. And it'll give the ability for you to tune it as you see fit. And it is part of your console, and it's part of the game. Okay? This is what the devs want for you. They want you to be able to hear the tools they've given you, that they've put hours and hours and hours into creating, so that you can have a better experience in the game. And this is the way to do it. Okay? I will have the links to everything below. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to comment. I try to reply as best I can. Coming up next week, or next video, we're going to delve into what actually is happening with Art is War's audio tunings and why they do what they do. Okay? So thanks for coming by. If you haven't checked out our first video, please do that. And then we'll see you on the next one. Quick post edit here. Want to just demonstrate kind of the capacity of what you can do with the mixer on the Xbox. So what I have here is a very short clip. It's about a minute long. This is actually recorded from the Xbox, and I did this in the Mixamp software. So it's only a 5-band EQ, a 10-band EQ, like on the Dolby one. You can do significantly better. My system's just not set up to record that, so I don't have the straight Dolby recording. But I want to show you what you can do with this mixing stuff on console. This is all mixed on console. I haven't touched the audio at all to bring it in here. Okay, so take a listen to the footsteps, listen to how much different it sounds than you're used to. All right, check it out, and then I'll catch you on the next one.